The fact that you're watching this video, I think you're into shaving. And I wanted to talk about different shaving razors, what we have, because me personally, when I went into the traditional wet shaving, it took me some time to figure out all the razors and how it all works. So hopefully it's also something what interesting for you. Otherwise, you would not be watching the video. So I would say that all the shaving razors would be, for me personally, defined by like three different groups. First, it's straight razors, which I would attach picture. Then we have traditional safety razors. And the third group, which I think the most common and familiar, it would be cartridge razors. Everyone knows such a like Gillette, Chic, big $1 club, which just like they come like 3, 4, 5 blades, whatever it is. So it's kind of like what's the most common, and that's the thing which I left more than a year ago, and super happy about this decision. So let's go with the first group, which was a straight razor. So the straight razor, me personally, I don't own one, and I will explain why. Because they look extremely cool. It's literally just like you have blade and the handle. So which then you would be able to shave your face, or originally it started mainly like in the barber shops. Barbers would do this. The issue with the straight razors, it's the fact that they require quite a bit of maintenance, such as sharpening. Between uses, you need to hone them to maintain the edge of the razor being perfectly straight. And of course, for honing, you need like a lot of tools. So, and of course, learning curve for it, because like the person who is shaving is responsible for the angle. So, and if there is like any mistake like of unperfect angle, it's quite easy to cut yourself. So that's why it takes quite a bit of time. And I think maybe at some point everyone wants to get one because it's cool and looks interesting. So let's go to the next group, because this one would be kind of like main purpose of the video. It would be traditional safety razors, which also I will attach picture, or no, I'm not gonna attach picture. I'm just gonna show you what would be traditional safety razor. Here it is. So as you can see, something which will open up. You would be able to put your blade in. The blade would be from both sides, and then you go and shave. So first, safety razors, how I would group them. They come as a solid safety razors, something which basically like it's a solid piece, and to open you would need either to push or to twist. How, for example, like this razor is, you see it's a solid construction, like, and for me to open, I need to push button and then it's gonna open. Then we have two-piece razors, which, for example, something like this, you see I need to unscrew two pieces. And the most common one, it's a three-piece razors, where you would have, for example, something like this. You're gonna have handle, you're gonna have cap, and you're gonna have a base plate. So, and then, like, of course, your blade gonna be between the base plate and the cap. So that's construction. And then I would define the safety razors with double edge. Literally, it's quite simple. So like the razor blade, you have full razor blade like this. So two edges, or you have a single edge, and there are like a couple of those. Let's talk about single edge, since they defined by two groups. So first one, like for example, this razor that I have, it's a lift tweak, which basically uses half of the regular double edge blade, which quite easy. Like when you have the blade, you just like bend it in half, it snaps, and then like you take one half, which let me show you. It would be one half like this, and you put it in this razor, and as you can see, just once I will put it. So this one I will twist to close. And as you can see, just like one blade, which sits there. So I will show. And then there is a second group of the single edge razors, which they use Artist Club blades. What is the difference? The Artist Club blades, they're a bit thicker, and because of this they maintain their edge slightly longer, so that's why like from one blade you would be able to push more shaves, but again, it's nothing comparison like to the cartridges. Like one blade, let's say like if like double edge blade would cost like somewhere between like 5 to 10 cents, and normally like you can use one blade for like 2-3 shaves. So if we talk about the Artist Club, those would be like kind of like maybe up to like 50 cents to $1, depends what deal you're gonna get, and those can last 5 to 8 shaves. So but still quite inexpensive if we compare it to the cartridges. So that's pretty simple with a single edge. So let's go to the double edge. And the double edge safety razors, they would define mainly groups. So the one which have safety bar. So let me show you, like for example, something like this. So you see this is called safety bar. This is something which pushes against your skin, so kind of creates a tension, and then when blade slides, so skin kind of like does not get entrapped as easily between the blade itself and the bar. Like for example, like when you go with a straight razor, there is nothing which will push the skin, only if you do not stretch your skin with your fingers. So the safety bar. Then second type, it would be an open comb. Let me show you. So as you can see, those called teeth. So you see there is a space between those, so it's not like a solid safety bar, there is a space. This made to increase mainly, I would say, efficiency of the razor. So the fact that more of the skin would be able to get closer to the blade, so closer of a shave you would be able to get, but of course it comes with a slight learning curve, since there is easier chance to nick yourself. I cannot say cut, but nick yourself. And I would say the third group, it would be slant razors, which they can come with a safety bar or with an open comb, like the one which I have. And I have with a safety bar, and the whole purpose of it is, you can see it's diagonally. So if we'll talk about the regular razor, you see it's an absolutely straight line. So here blade would be slightly diagonal. And the main difference, so when you have the regular razor, kind of like blade, kind of like more chops, so if you say, because it's a cut, and with a slant, because it's diagonally, it's almost like, if you can see, like guillotine, right? So it's like blade is diagonal, so it's more of a slicing action. So especially like for people with more sensitive skin but coarse beard, slant razors are being recommended, since they're slicing, so they're quite efficient, but they're not chopping into your skin. And there is a fourth group, those would be hybrid. So that's, for example, if I will show you a razor like this, as you can see, on one side it's a safety bar, on another side it's an open comb, and those kind of like mainly people who do a couple passes. You can start maybe with an open comb to remove more hair if you shave, let's say, like every 3-4 maybe a week, and then you can do cleanup pass with a safety bar. Hope this makes sense. Then let's go with a kind of like with aggression and efficiency. So for me, it's also a bit too different. So for me personally, it was quite challenging to understand, since a lot of razors would say like, oh, it's like mild aggression, medium aggression, or like aggressive. So of course, first of all, what defines aggression? It's a blade gap. So literally easy to understand. It's how much of a distance between the blade and the safety bar in the case. So basically how much of a skin we'll be able to get, so how close of a shave. That's the first one. Then second one, it would be blade exposure. So kind of like how much blade sticks out, so how much it would be on your skin, because there would be razors with negative exposure. So basically you don't really feel it, just kind of like you press it against your skin, and then whatever comes to the blade. With pressure, it's gonna be slightly in like a neutral exposure. So it's just kind of like wear a safety bar. And then there is positive when blade slightly sticks out. So for you to feel it. And the 13, it would be blade angle. Blade angle, it's how the cap kind of like bends it or just like remain more or less straight. Because let's say I will show you like this razor, you see the cap curves a lot, and at the same time, like for example this one, not as much. So it would be already different feel. And of course, then you have such a thing as a adjustable razors. So it's like, for example, something like this. You see, like I would tell you that first with adjustable started, it's company Gillette in I will believe late 50s. They had the Gillette Fat Boy, and that's kind of like where you would twist the knob and then the distance, so basically the blade gap would be changing, and that's kind of like comfortable, so you could have kind of like multiple razors in one. And so we discussed aggression, and then another thing, efficiency. So for me personally, efficiency I was able to define, it's mainly blade exposure, because sometimes you may have mild razor, which is basically a smaller blade gap, but you may have it as an efficient because you have a positive blade exposure, but smaller blade gap. So it's still kind of like blade kind of like early attaches the skin and removes more of hair. So efficiency, it's basically about how fast it removes the hair. So hopefully so far it all makes sense. And of course, guys, it's a lot of information. So if you ever have any questions, please comment down below. I would love to answer on all the questions, since I remember myself when I just started, it was quite tricky and I was asking a lot of people in the community. So let me tell you, so me personally, kind of like I started with a single edge razor. So as you can see, it's a lift wick. If you are interested, there is a review for this razor on my channel, which that was a razor with which one I switched from the cartridges, since I always was kind of like, I wanted to have a clean shave, but my neck is a bit more sensitive. And in order to get a clean shave, I needed to get multiple passes. And then of course you have 3, 4, 5 blades, which kind of like it goes over and over and literally irritates your skin. And I could not shave earlier than 3 or 4 days until my skin kind of like calmed down. With this razor, it's a milder version, it's a tweak, single edge. So you literally, and you can see the angle already pre-made. So it literally, you need to lather it up and then slowly go. If you transition in from cartridge razors to any of the safety razors, or maybe right away straight razor, the main thing, do not apply any pressure. There are like a lot of razors who are like mainly like heavy more on the top part, and basically let the weight of the razor do its job. So it's only like if you got like some super light razor, then maybe you need like, but even like for you, like I would say, so those like double-edged blades, they're like extremely sharp. And of course you can, once you're gonna dig in, like there would be another video where I would be talking about the razor blades. And so if you ever wanted, I think this is a great razor to transition. There are like some other alternatives, such as like Hansen razor. So once again, if you would have any questions, please comment down below. Hope this video was helpful for you. And yeah, stay smooth and have a great shaves.